they decided, you know, we've had enough of this kind of thing. We're going to fight back. The patrons, instead of timidly taking it, they actually hurled rocks and bottles right back at the police. And the rioting went on for a couple of days.
June 27, 1969. The Stonewall riots in Greenwich Village sparked the beginning of the gay and lesbian civil rights movement. This year is the 25th anniversary of Stonewall. I'm Eileen Karn, and our guests on this episode of Forward and Out are involved with Stonewall 25, an international march on the United Nations and rally dedicated to commemorating and celebrating this historic moment. Stonewall 25 affirms the dignity and equal rights of lesbians and gays as members of the human family. Join me in welcoming Lisa Graciano, Lynn Walker, and Larry McNair. Welcome all to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry, let's start with you. Can you tell us about what was happening 25 years ago and the rebellion that started all of it?
Thank you, Eileen. 25 years ago, there were really two organizations for lesbian and gay people in the city, the Mattachine Society and the Daughters of Bilitis. And raids and police harassment was fairly common in those years. On one particular night, the night after Judy Garland died, there was a police raid at the Stonewall Inn in Greenwich Village, and police entered the place under the pretense of checking to see whether people were complying with the alcoholism laws, alcohol control laws. And they were proofing people and making homophobic remarks, harassing the people. As some of the patrons then left the bar, they got outside. One individual, or perhaps a couple of individuals, uprooted a parking meter, and they barricaded the police inside the bar. And then, at that point, the riot really began. The police started to destroy the inside of the bar. More and more of a crowd began to arrive outside, and that really started what became 3 days of protests, of rioting, of fires, of civil disobedience.
Mm-hmm. What came from those? So there were concrete actions that really changed the gay power movement from that riot. Is that right? The new organizations were formed, and there was a real focus again on lesbian and gay issues.
There really was. The term gay power became something that people said after Stonewall. The Gay Liberation Front, the Gay Activist Alliance grew up, and these grew into what is now ACT UP. Numerous organizations began to grow, and people began to have a political consciousness that perhaps we could have civil rights, we could have equality and equity before the law.
Right. The role of the drag queens is very important in the Stonewall riots. It's as though the most visible part of our community really led the way.
Yes. There were a lot of drag queens and drag kings. There were a lot of people of color and other minority group people that were hanging out at the Stonewall. And they were integrally involved with the inception of that riot. Over time, I suppose a number of us dropped out and became less involved. And then the impetus for driving this human rights movement fell to lesbians and gays. But there is no question that a number of drag people, transgendered people, were involved right at the very beginning, right there on that night at the Stonewall Inn.
Right, yeah. And here we are 25 years later. Lisa, what is Stonewall 25, the project?
Stonewall 25 now is a celebration. It's celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, and it's going to be observed through a series of events. The biggest is going to be the March on the UN, and that's going to be to affirm the rights of lesbians, gay men, bisexuals, drag, and transgendered people.
Okay. We have a clip on that from one of the organizers of Stonewall 25.
Right, an interview.
So, yeah, let's go to that now.
My name is Paula Xanthopoulou, and I'm on the host committee for Stonewall 25 in New York City. And also on the national level, I'm the head of the official Stonewall 25 merchandise program. And the main event that we're working for is the March on the United Nations to affirm the human rights of lesbian and gay people. It'll be taking place on June 26th here in New York, around 12 noon, followed by a rally in Central Park. And this not only commemorates the 25th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, but it's basically the biggest, it could be the biggest human rights event in history, but it's also the first really big international mobilization of our community. If you want to support the march, you can buy official Stonewall 25 merchandise like this great sweatshirt right here, or this great cap. We have a lot of other things, lapel pins, buttons, caps, t-shirts, and you can find out more about that by calling 1-800-IS-PROUD. And if you have questions about the march, you can call 212-741-0132 here in New York. And we are trying to reach a lot of people to tell them about the march. As far as New York, getting volunteers we need many thousands of volunteers. We need housing, community housing for people coming from out of the country and from far away who can't afford hotels. So please get involved, find out about the march, find out about Stonewall 25, and it's really going to be a memorable, historic event.
Okay, so that's a lot of good information. People will be meeting in different parts of the city, and then, or starting in the UN.
Well, there's going to be official routes and unofficial routes. Most of the people are going to be at the UN, so the march is going to be on the UN. Is going to be the main one.
Right, and the rallies.
There might also be another one going from the site of Stonewall up to Central Park. That's going to be a popular route because a lot of people, want to include the Stonewall site.
Okay. And then the march will go to Central Park.
Right, and there'll be a rally. That'll be almost like the March on Washington's rally from last year. So that'll be a really big event. There'll be plenty of speakers, and I mean, it's just going to be great.
There's going to be a huge video screen. Some,
I believe so.
Surprise guests
yeah.
make an appearance. I heard all sorts of fun rumors. It sounds like
are going.
You do not want to miss this event. Yeah. There's many other things connected with Stonewall 25.
Right. There's candlelight. There's a candlelight celebration on Saturday evening. Now, every year during Gay Pride Weekend, there's the candlelight vigil, which is on Friday night. So at dusk, that goes from the site of Stonewall all the way down Christopher Street to the pier to remember people who have passed away from AIDS. Now, in addition to that, on Saturday night, there's going to be a special candlelight celebration just for the Stonewall riots, at the site of the Stonewall riots, celebrating really all the accomplishments that we've made over the last 25 years.
Right. And one of the things that's important about Stonewall 25, too, is the involvement of the UN and the global scale.
Oh yes,
of this
international event.
Right.
So I mean, there's people coming from countries all over the world. I think we're up to
about
how many?
168 countries.
168
people from 168 countries coming to New York City.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Of course, the Gay Games precedes it that week, so we'll have...
Gay Games, I think, is from June 17th or 18th, all the way through the 25th, and people are coming in. There's about 30 to 35,000 people coming in just participating in the Gay Games.
Yeah.
So.
One of the big excitements about the march is the rainbow flag. I understand that a mile-long flag.
1 mile long rainbow flag. It's about 1/3 to half done right now. Still looking for volunteers for that alone.
To put the flag together.
To put the flag together, and I believe you get to take a piece of it.
Yes, they're still looking for volunteers.
If you do that.
They're still looking for volunteers to carry this 1 mile long flag. And then I understand that the people that are carrying the flag will get to take part of the flag with them home as a remembrance.
Okay.
Do that.
What a souvenir.
Right. It's such a whole weekend of parties. I know there's going to be events in Westchester and events connected with many organizations that are choosing that weekend and the week after it to meet.
Yeah, the Loft is sponsoring. The Loft is sponsoring a party on Friday night the Friday before the Stonewall March, which is in the Holiday Inn. Which Holiday Inn?
The Crown Plaza in White Plains.
Holiday Inn.
Right.
Which is supposed to be a big thing.
Night.
Okay.
The Friday night before.
So our viewers can call the Loft about that.
And they have the Holiday Inn actually has conferences going on too that weekend, so that's really great.
Yeah,
for the
good.
Westchester.
Right. The Lesbian Parents Association is meeting here. Larry, why should somebody go to Stonewall 25?
Because you have to. No, no. What happens is, in the last 25 years, we are not getting, as Lynn said, we're not getting as harassed. We are not getting raided in bars, but we are still not able to walk down the street with our lover, significant other, whatever you like to call it, without fear of somebody throwing a rock at you, or without being, you can't go into the street and being bashed. We're talking Christopher Street, where we're supposed to be. You would think that that's our world, quote unquote. God forbid I try and like sleep on my lover's shoulder in a train going through the Bronx. That is not correct. So what I'm trying to say, without me trying to go nuts, is that we need a certain amount of presence. So people, whether you think it's just a big party and I don't want to go to this party, we need you to show everybody else that you're here. So everybody has to be here. If anything else, since it's an international march, we need to support our brothers and sisters from all around the world, all right? I mean, China, lesbians are given shock treatment. Romania is 1 to 5 years imprisonment. I don't understand that. 1 to 5 years imprisonment. Brazil is one gay murder every day they're averaging out, which is uninvestigated, which just gets swept under the carpet. And they need to see, everybody needs to see some kind of unity. Okay, that's why. Pretty much in a nutshell. That is just a presence.
Right. It's as though Stonewall 25 is a celebration of progress that's been made already, but in fact we have to look around and say how far we have yet to go. That there's so much
there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but
danger.
We're not at the light yet.
Right, right. Okay. What can our viewers do exactly? Well, they're going to attend. They're going to
everyone needs to block that day off. It's Sunday.
Get your personal day.
Last Sunday in June, June 26th. Actually block all the time around that the week before, week afterwards, and come and attend. That's the #1 thing. The second thing is we need to get the word out. Tell friends, tell family members are certainly invited, co-workers. People really need to come out, and this is a great opportunity to do so. You know, what are you doing this weekend? I'm going to Stonewall 25. It's a great way to come out, so everybody do that. But also for New Yorkers and people in the tri-state area, we need to get the message out to people that don't live in the tri-state area. So if you have friends that live across the country or in other countries, you know, being able to reach out and let them know what's going on and just giving as much information as you can. I mean, that's one of the first things that we want to do is an awareness kind of a campaign.
And you don't have to be gay to attend.
Oh, absolutely.
We want the support of everybody who supports our civil rights.
Right. We do not exclude like other parades and events, okay? We are all inclusive.
Yeah, all inclusive.
Anybody's allowed to come.
Larry, can you talk about volunteering a little bit? The Stonewall 25 organization and different aspects of it really need support from our community and actually doing work and
boils down
staging
to
the events.
That we need volunteers. That's in a nutshell. There are, 10 committees. There's media, outreach, direct action, hospitality, which we'll talk about later.
Housing, fundraising.
The rally committee.
The march.
The march
alone
itself, day of
needs at
event.
least 10,000 people for that alone.
Really?
And we need anybody who has a talent. I mean, anybody can come and do it. You know, we need anybody. You don't have to type. You don't have to just be there, and just for support of anything else.
Right. So when our show ends, we'll be flashing the number. The person could call the Stonewall 25 number, and they'll get a volunteer application or get plugged into where their talent or interests lie in terms of
or you can call, the loft. The loft should have information. The center in the city has information.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if someone can only give a half an hour or an hour a week, we need that. We
need it now.
The time. We need it right now to help get ready.
Right.
Even if it's just a few minutes, we need the help.
Right. And what about hospitality and housing? Many people in Westchester probably have a little more space than our New York counterparts.
A lot more.
So that would be an opportunity to really, open your home to someone who's coming, maybe even an international guest.
Yeah, for housing. Yeah, that we need the floor.
Right.
We'll take the floor, the couch, the bathtub, whatever you want to give.
Right.
Give it, What's the problem?
It'd be fun too.
Yeah, but you see you have interaction with other people in other countries or wherever, other places in the world. We were talking about hospitality.
And it's possible too to kind of target how you'd like to be hospitable. Some people would not want a smoker, for example, or a drinker. some people coming from out of the country would prefer not to be in a home with dogs or children. So we can work with prospective hosts along those lines.
Right.
But we desperately need the space. There's simply not enough hotel rooms
in
the city
right.
or in anywhere in the tri-state area. So we really, really need to have people who can open their homes, particularly, or even more so, if people have language skills. Because we're going to have people coming from 168 countries.
Right.
Chances are excellent that they do not all speak English. And we know if people can volunteer to be translators during the rally, translators during the march, or host people from nations who do not speak English. That's so very important. We don't want to have somebody stuck in New York not able to get around because they don't speak the
And what a
language.
great experience for that visitor to have someone there helping them with language and the subway
Exactly.
system or Metro North or whatever it is. Donations.
Yes.
Money. We need money for this.
We need people power, and we also need money power. And if anybody would like to make a donation, they could just write a check out to Stonewall 25, New York City, and send that care of the Gay and Lesbian Services Center in Manhattan.
Right, and that'll
And
go
we'll
to
flash
the organization.
address
Yeah.
for that later.
The corporate sponsorship has been there too. Yes,
Oh, yeah, we
Campari's
just,
made the headline.
recently had Campari donate $10,000 to Stonewall
10,000.
25, and they've we've dedicated two Campari drinks. One's called the Stonewall, and the other's called the Stonewall Riot.
Okay, we actually have a little clip from the
Right.
company about that. So we'd like to run that now. That'll be fun. Okay.
Hi, I'm Eileen Robbins. I represent Campari USA, and we're a co-sponsor of Stonewall 25, and I'm tremendously happy and excited to be part of this whole venture. And this is...
Tony in Calcaterra, and I'm with Stonewall 25. I'm the local host committee media chair, and we're so happy to be involved in this project. It's 100 days to Stonewall, June 26th, and we're here at Henrietta's right in front in the cold weather, sort of helping the countdown start and introducing two new drinks, drink recipes, which are the...
Well, there are two. One's called the Campari Stonewall. Can I give out the secret recipe?
Yeah, I think
okay. It's Campari, which is an Italian aperitif, beautiful ruby red, with 1 part Campari and 2 parts grapefruit juice. And it's also got a little splash of soda. And then there's another drink called...
Well, I tell you what, if you take that drink and you add a shot of vodka to that, it becomes a Stonewall Campari, excuse me, a Campari Stonewall Riot.
We've had a few tonight
We've had a couple
already.
So that's right. In either case, you're going to get stonewalled. And for us, it's a great thing because we've got people in bars constantly saying Stonewall, just to remind everybody how important it is to be there again on the 26th of June for the International March on the United Nations. And it's really important. It's a wonderful effort. We're thrilled that Campari is working with us really closely. So,
if you're freezing, by the way, because you must know the camera woman has no coat on, and we're standing outside. There's snow all over the blizzard of New York. I will give her my coat if you want to talk for one more second.
No, I
Are
think
you freezing? I'll just say
finished.
one more thing, which is that Campari's involvement in this is really not just to get some cute drink names out there, but really to support this cause. So I want to thank Tony for getting me involved, and thank you for the interview.
bye-bye now.
Okay, back from that. The corporate sponsorship could include people in our community having their companies do matching contributions and all sorts of things like that.
Exactly. Stonewall 25 is a not-profit corporation.
Right. How did it come about? It was a real bringing together of different aspects of the community, Lynn. Is that right?
There's a lot of variety in our community. You know, this rainbow flag is not just something that we dreamed up for the convenience of the moment. There is tremendous diversity in our community. And a lot of times, with all that diversity, we don't always see things quite the same way. When we started putting together plans for this celebration several years ago, we found that it was something that we could all concentrate on. We could all be united with planning to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Stonewall. So we have people of color, we have veterans, we have Hispanic people, we have transgendered people, we have drag queens. We've got so many different parts of our community working together, just jumping in and putting aside whatever differences we have so that we can work to really celebrate, to really bring our issues to the United Nations, to let the UN know that we have some issues which are global in nature, that their Universal Declaration of Human Rights many years ago really does mean something, really should mean something, and it should mean something for us, for all segments of our community.
Those are the 12 demands that are being made
That's right.
to the UN.
And what's so good too, we're discovering, you know, when we draw a rainbow, when you drew a rainbow in 3rd grade, you used colors and just a splash of this color, a splash of that color, a splash of some other color. Well, we're finding that as we work together, the colors, it's becoming more like a real rainbow, and the colors are just kind of blending into each other. They're bleeding into each other, and we're bleeding into each other, and we're really coalescing. The whole community is coming together over this issue. It's wonderful to watch, wonderful to be here.
So
right now.
the different groups that are part of the Stonewall 25 Coalition come from all over. There's gay veterans groups and different people of color.
There are ethnic groups, religious groups.
Right.
Youth
Groups of all, youth groups, exactly.
Right.
SAGE,
the Senior Action in a Gay Environment.
Right.
We have people of all shapes,
So when there's
ages,
a Stonewall
colors.
25 meeting, there's representatives from
everywhere.
everywhere.
Every shape, size, color, age. We're the world. We are every part of the world. We are there. Period. You know, whether you're a street sweeper or whatever.
I think it's something to be really proud of. That this event is coming off. It's going to be wonderful and successful. You're at the outreach committee now.
Yes.
That's right. How did you get involved? Lynn, let's start with you.
Well, I've been involved in a number of other organizations in the city, all having to do with transgendered community, or mostly having to do with the transgendered community. And it just seemed like somebody had to jump in and do something. Somebody from my corner of the community had to jump in and start getting involved. I really believe in Stonewall, so I jumped in and sat during one of the town meetings, and they talked about this and that and something else, and I wrote back and said, well, I'm really not etc., but you know, if you say transgendered, I'll join. And they did, and I did.
Okay, how about you, Larry?
Cute. How did I get involved? I was always involved in something. I did the dance-a-thon, I've done the walk-a-thons. Stonewall 25, I like history, and I really have a big thing that somebody has fought for me. And I think that it's my part to continue in that kind of fight. But I heard about Stonewall 25 itself in a bar. The people next to me were asking the bartender to give pamphlets, and I took one.
And that was the beginning.
And that was the beginning, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah, how about you, Lisa?
Well, like Larry and Lynn, I've been involved in many different organizations, but I think that Stonewall 25 is one that, especially for people that aren't involved, but even if you are involved in some kind of, any organization at all, I think every single person out there has to have their hands on to Stonewall 25.
right.
So that's why I definitely wanted to do that. And also, I went to the March on Washington last year, and I have to say, hands down, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life.
Right.
So anybody who was there knows that, and anybody who wasn't does not want to miss Stonewall 25 because
Right.
it's gonna outdo last year, and it's so important because we have to all come together to get ready for the next 25 years.
Is there an estimate of how many people you can expect?
We're trying to stay away from estimates because we don't want media manipulation of those numbers.
Okay, so we won't say that. It's in the
There's going to be
millions.
a lot of people.
It's going to be a lot of people there.
Double any old estimates. Okay, stuff.
What about after Stonewall 25? This is going to create so much energy for, a renewed look at where we are and what we need to do. Do you have any comments about that? What's going
Oh yeah, tons. But I think that the most important thing is to get anti-discrimination legislation in place locally, statewide, and nationally. I mean, here in New York, we have a bill that had passed the Assembly last year and did not make it to the floor for a vote, and it's passed the Assembly again this year. It's going to the floor for a vote. Most people don't even know that in New York State, you can totally fire somebody for being gay, and it's totally legal.
We do not have that protection.
So, I mean, it's legislation like that we want, to get passed so that we don't have to feel the discrimination. And violence, too. Violence goes every single day, and it goes unnoticed.
Right. Any other?
And we need to raise the consciousness of the rest of the world. This is a march on the UN with a purpose.
Yeah.
We need to raise the consciousness of the rest of the world because, as Larry was saying, we might not get arrested in Greenwich Village anymore, but we can get bashed. it's worse in other places. We need to make sure that the rest of the world starts to do something about that, starts to make sure that they include us.
Right.
We need to get in their face about it so that when we have Stonewall 50, we can say how much more we have accomplished.
Right, yeah.
I think that, I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay. It's okay. We're almost at the end of our time. Saved by the bell. Thanks for being here. Well, see you on the 27th. Okay.
Thank you, Eileen.
If you'd like
thank
to,
you so
yeah,
much.
great. Okay, if you'd like to get involved with Stonewall 25 Project, write to Stonewall 25, P.O. Box 2038, New York, New York 10113, or call 212-626-6925. You can fax 212-626-6965. Thanks for watching. Send your comments to us at Forward and Out, care of the Loft, P.O. Box 1513, White Plains, New York 10602. Or you can call the Loft helpline at 914-948-4922. Stay tuned for the Loft's Community Bulletin Board directly following the closing credits of the show. I hope you'll all come out and join the Stonewall 25 March, Sunday, June 26th. Let's show our numbers. Next time, be proud.